Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
Southeast Radio.
Well, the hugely popular GT5K event returns this year and offers a much needed opportunity for companies to get their staff involved in a fun event and to support team building along the way. Kathryn Coakley is the Audit Director with Thornton, and she joins us now to tell us more. Kathryn, before we discuss the GT5K event itself, I'd like to hear about your own success on the GAA pitch.
Morning, Carl, and thanks for having me. Yeah, thankfully I'm with a very successful team, Mornaby. So again, this year we got to 7 county finals in the last 7 or 8 years. Obviously we missed one with COVID, so thankfully we've been very successful, and we got to the All-Ireland final again this year, unfortunately losing it. So unfortunately we've lost more than we've won, but absolutely fantastic and great to have an outlet outside of work.
I was going to mention that I can imagine that fulfilling the duties of Audit Director can be fairly busy and stressful. So how important is sport to you in that respect?
It's essential to me, to be honest. It's great that at the end of the day, and that is one thing that Thornton, in fairness, really facilitate. They're great with the work-life balance. So to have that opportunity, like I've been working in Dublin, Cork, in both offices, and to be able to leave on time to get out and get training has been unbelievable. Like even when I was in Dublin, they were able to facilitate me returning back to Cork to train in Cork as well. So to have that work-life balance has been unbelievable for me, to be honest, yeah.
And I'm interested to find out, through your role as Audit Director with Thornton, what are you seeing from a trends perspective with your own clients there?
At the minute, I imagine it's the same with every business now. The staff retention is something that a lot of people are finding difficult, like the numbers, the shortages. I know a lot of people have now gone worldwide to try get staff. It's not just staying within the Irish market. It's very hard. All clients are the same. A lot of people, I suppose, are returning to travel. So like staff retention, keeping the staff, it's one of the hard things at the minute.
There seems to be a little bit of a slowdown in consumer spending. Are you seeing that through your own client base?
I suppose it's the case now with inflation. It's obviously after skyrocketing, and you're seeing it. The people are starting to the leisure spending is kind of slowing down. They're back to spending on the main thing. So like we have a few clients now involved in different industries that would have had a real boom during COVID because of the extra income that people had, but now you can see it like it's starting to slow down, to be honest. Yeah, and I suppose with the electricity costs, the oil, all those necessity costs that are there, people are finding it very, very difficult.
Of course, Thornton have access to huge amounts of data and intelligence. So what is your outlook for the Irish economy from a consumer spending perspective over the coming years?
From a consumer perspective, I think it is going to be tough. Like people are already feeling it. I suppose from a Thornton perspective, we are kind of seeing that we don't think that it'll be as bad as a 2000 and 2008 recession. Like the banks are well capitalised. It's not like they don't have the fundings there. I do understand that there's 2 banks leaving the market, but like all the other banks are well, there's no issues there. So from that perspective, I think we're okay. And like the other aspect, I suppose, is there's plenty of jobs there. That wasn't the case in 2007, 2008. Like there's plenty of work there. The market isn't at capacity in terms of employment either. So there is that capacity. So I suppose we're just as hopeful as everyone else that we will see it through and it won't be as bad as what people have experienced, unfortunately, in recent times.
Now, whilst, of course, many employers are witnessing increased business costs, they're also witnessing lots of wage pressures within their own organisations. What advice is Thornton providing to your own clients in that regard?
I suppose one of the things that we'll say to most clients is, I suppose, don't go outside your budget, because that's what has caused issues for some people, is that they've been unrealistic in what they think they can afford. So again, it comes back to budgeting, make sure that you're staying within your budget and being realistic in your targets. And I understand you set high standards, every company does, but sometimes you just need to take a step back to make sure that you can actually afford to, take that extra person or at that higher rate. Because, we're seeing it as well. What people are coming in and requesting, the wages they're just extortionate, that, companies won't be able to afford it, unfortunately.
On the positive side, we're seeing a lot of new start-up businesses emerging after the pandemic, aren't we?
Yeah, it's great to see. Like, there's a lot of people that are now taking after their passion. I suppose people are in, from that perspective, are taking the risk that they never would have because they found what they really do love, and they love working in that kind of an industry, which is great. And like, there's so much opportunity. There's so many grants available out there as well, for startups as well. So it's fantastic.
And Kathryn, I've asked you to join us on this morning's show to discuss the GT5K event. Talk to us about the history of the event and the success of it to date.
It's been hugely successful. I mean, now it's running in 3 locations. So I think in Cork, in the last one in 2019, I mean, there was over 1,000 people running the Mall. In Dublin, there was over nearly 2,500 people running. It's fantastic to see all the purple T-shirts running around, and obviously great for with the Sport of Athletics Ireland as well. So like, it's fantastic. It's a great event. It's a good corporate event too, because you get your teams out, people that don't necessarily run. It's not about a running event. It's actually about the fun element and trying to get it in, getting to run with, people that you work with. It's not about the fastest time or anything like that. It's just about getting out there again, really.
And of course, as a result of COVID, the event went virtual for a period of time. Are you back to in-person runs again this year?
Yeah, so this year, thankfully, we're back to in-person runs, but obviously we understand COVID has obviously changed business completely. So there actually is the option to do virtual as well if you want, because obviously in the last 2 years, we'd entries worldwide, which was fantastic, different alumni groups and people like that. So this year, again, you have the opportunity to run virtually on the 4th of October, which will coincide with the main event, which is in Dublin on the 4th of October.
So what is required of the participants in this year's GT5K?
Basically, when you register, you'll pick your location. So obviously we've got Cork on the 6th of September, Galway on the 14th of September, which is moved locations. So it's now along the Salted Promenade, which will obviously be a fantastic move. And then Dublin on the 4th of October. So the in-person events is just turn up. You'll have your pack. You'll have received your pack at that stage. So everyone will have a purple T-shirt. So there'll be a sea of purple running. Again, this year they slightly changed. Obviously, COVID has changed, so you do have the opportunity to run as an individual as opposed to just a team of 4, which was always the way before. But again, like you're just running your 5K. You can walk it, you can run it, you can crawl it. It's up to you. As I said, it's not about the time on the night. And
Kathryn, what benefits can businesses achieve by getting involved in this event?
It's about the camaraderie at work, again, trying to get that element of fun in. It is a very enjoyable event. Again, it might be you've been at home for the past 2 years, to go and meet people back again, back in person event. It's a great networking event. It's not just you'll get to meet people from other companies, because after the run, there's a social gathering as well. So it's nearly like a networking event as well, where you get to meet people that you probably haven't had opportunities to meet over the last 2 years.
And how important are initiatives such as the GT5K to grant Thornton's own corporate social responsibility goals?
It's fantastic, because again, like that, within our own internal, I would say nearly 90% of people run it. For some people, it's the only time within 12 months that they run any bit of a 5K, but it is fantastic. Again, there'll be a bit of competition, obviously, internally, naturally, that I want to beat this person, or, just small goals like that. But it just brings a bit of enjoyment, a bit of fun back to be honest.
And Kathryn, finally, how can businesses across the Southeast get involved, and what are the relevant deadlines that they need to be aware of?
So the way you can get involved is if you go onto the Grant Thornton website, you'll see that there's a link there to register. There's early bird offers ongoing at the minute. So then, depending on the weeks before, obviously with the different dates, it's usually about 2 weeks beforehand, but you can register up to the day before. There's no necessary, but obviously to get the better rate, the sooner you register, the better.
Well, if you've just tuned in, that was Kathryn Coakley, the Audit Director at Grant Thornton, and I would certainly encourage all businesses across the Southeast region to support their upcoming GT5K event.
Southeast Radio's Business Matters with Carl Fitzpatrick.
South